Hi there, Sandra here from the Schwowin's Nest. Happy New Year! I'm so glad you've joined me today. I am going to be making a few little mini decor items for tiered trays for winter. Using the tumbling tower blocks that you can get at the Dollar Tree, I'm going to make a window frame. To create the window pane dividers, I'm going to use some regular size popsicle sticks. I trimmed one down to fit the narrow portion, and then the other popsicle stick will fit right across the wider portion. In order for this window to stand up on its own, I'm using a larger block. This is a tumbling tower block, but it's from Walmart and it's the actual full-size blocks, just like the Jenga blocks. I'm going to glue it to the front and it's going to create a little window box. The window is going to get 2 coats of DIY chalk paint in white, and if I can find the tumbling tower large set online somewhere, I will add that link down in the description box. Using a rough brush and some black paint, I'm going to go around the edges like this, making it have some distressing. And then I'm also going to take my brush and just run it lightly against the white all over, just so it has more texture and dimension. I'm using one of these green ties that you can get in a pack of 12 from the Dollar Tree at Christmas time. I've got some left over, but I'm going to trim it right down. I want it nice and short. It's meant for a mini window, so these strands are really long. So I'm just going to give it a really good haircut. I've cut the pieces in 2-inch strips and I'm just bending them a little bit so they hang down over the little block. And I'm going to use hot glue to glue them into place. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to add these little mini pine cones. They look a little big because they're so close up, but they're tiny little pine cones. They're probably about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch long. They come from hemlock trees, and I'm going to glue a few of them all along the greenery. I'm going to be adding some winter snow and ice effect. I have a bamboo skewer that I'm dipping into my Mod Podge, and I'm just dropping it onto the greenery and onto the pine cones, and I'm leaving it fairly thick. You can see that it's dripping there a little bit. That's okay. I'm going to take some Epsom salts and pour them on top of the glue and then just press them down lightly with my finger to make sure they stick, and then I'll shake off the excess. What I'm doing here with the Mod Podge, letting it drip down, is something that I came upon accidentally. I had some drips of glue on a previous project, and I realized that as soon as I poured the Epsom salt on, it stuck really well. So it looks like the snow is dripping down off of the project, and it looks really pretty. My second mini project is using this little fireplace that was a Christmas ornament that I found on clearance at one of the stores here in Canada. And I'm using some crack shot spackle. And what I'm going to do is simply cover all of it. I want the whole fireplace to have more of a stone or a concrete look rather than a brick or tile look. Once the spackling is all on, you can go ahead and add some different lines or designs to make it look like brick or tile, but I'm just going to leave it plain. I set it aside to dry for quite a few hours. I worked on some other projects while I was waiting for this to set up. And now I'm going to take some folk art home decor chalk paint in Parisian gray, and I'm going to paint the mantle and the stand at the bottom in that color. I am really loving the folk art chalk paint. It covers most of the time with one coat and only maybe needs a few little touch-ups here and there, and it comes in a really nice variety of colors. I also painted the back of it with the gray color, and then I'm going to use my DIY white chalk paint and cover the spackling to make it look nice and bright. Once the white paint was dry, I'm taking the Parisian gray again, and I'm going to do a little bit of dry brushing onto the white. I just want to bring out some of the texture and the lines and just give it more of a rustic look. I've taken another one of those garland ties from the Dollar Tree and trimmed it down just like I did for the window. And now I'm just going to be adding some of those greenery pieces to the top of the mantle. I want this to look like it would be an outdoor mantle, so it's going to have some snow and some pine cones too. I wanted to take a moment and say thank you to all of my viewers and subscribers. I'm really close to 15,000 subscribers and I'm so excited. I couldn't have done it without all of your support. So thanks. I'm also going to be adding some little white frosted berries. I found these at the dollar store. I think it was at Dollarama, and they're perfect because they look just like little snowballs. So I'm just going to take it and trim some off and glue them on top of the mantle. I wanted the fireplace to have a real look, so I'm going to be using some of these little branches that I cut down from my yard, and I'm going to place them in such a way that they look like it's a fire that's prepared and ready to be lit. I'm just going to glue them down to each other and to the bottom of the fireplace with some hot glue. These are two of the Dollar Tree's little bottle brush trees, and I'm going to glue one on either side of the fireplace. Using some white paint, I'm just going to dab it on the greens and the pine cones to make it look like they've been covered with snow. I'm also going to add some additional white to the little bottle brush trees so they look snow covered too. I also added some snow to the wood pieces. I think it turned out pretty cute. This last project is going to use this Dollar Tree wood box, and I'm going to remove the labels from the back, and I'm also going to remove the metal label holder on the front. It's always easier to just pop these little screws out because most of the time they're stripped and you can't get a screwdriver to fit into them. So I'm going to be using the front of the box anyway, so it doesn't matter what the back looks like. Using the same folk art Parisian gray chalk paint, I'm going to paint the interior of the box, including the sides, but I'm not going to be doing the exterior or the trim on the box. I'm going to be doing a different color for that. I decided to use black for the outside of the box, so I'm going to do all four sides. I'm going to do the back of it as well as the little edges on the front of the box. At my Dollarama earlier this year, I found a box of these little wooden die cuts. This is a little truck with the Christmas tree, and you can see in the background there's a couple of snowflakes. Those also came in the box. So I'm going to attempt to cut off the Christmas tree with my miter shears. It doesn't really work that well, so I end up having to just kind of break it off and then use my X-Acto knife to clean off the edges. I cut the Christmas trees off of two of the same identical trucks, and now I'm going to paint both of them with Maui Sand Folk Art Chalk Paint, which is just a nice dark charcoal. I'm just going to do the whole truck for now, and then I'm going to add some details later. I tried using my fine point Sharpie pen to do some details, but they don't really show up very well. So I'm taking my Craft Smart paint pen and filling in the tires, and then I'm going to use a white chalk paint marker to add some of the details and highlight the truck. Unfortunately, I was out of frame when I was doing the majority of these highlightings, but you can kind of see the effect I was going for. Using my Cricut Joy, I designed a decal Farm Fresh snowballs, which I will have on my website in the free printables area. My website is linked in my description box. I'm going to take the gray truck that doesn't have the details, and I'm going to go ahead and just glue it to the back of the box. Then I'm going to use two of these little blocks that come in a package of 24 or 30, I believe, from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to put one on either end of the truck. I made sure to paint them the same color of the truck so they would blend in. I glued the detailed truck right on top of the little cube, and you can see here that I only have one cube, but I did decide to add the second one and make it look like the hood of the truck. Here I'm adding the second block and then I'll paint that as well. Since the truck bed and the hood of the truck looked good with the blocks, I decided to add a little piece of popsicle stick to create a roof. I used some Star-Bond glue to just get into the crack in between the popsicle stick and the truck itself, just to make sure that the roof wouldn't pop off. Star-Bond glues are really fantastic for getting into little cracks and crevices because they're a thin set glue and they hold really well. If you're interested in trying out some of those products, I do have an affiliate link down in my description box. Using the same white berries that I used in a previous project, I cut off a piece and I'm going to hot glue that right to the back of the truck. Using the Mod Podge again, I'm going to put a layer down at the bottom of the box, and this time I'm using the artificial snow, which is the shredded plastic. I don't really like it. I did use it for this project because I had not used it before. I picked one up after Christmas just to see how it would be, but I'm not too keen on it. It just really doesn't look like snow to me. I prefer the Epsom salt. So I'm going to just go ahead and finish what I'm doing on this, fill all of the bottom with the shredded snow, but I'm also going to add some Epsom salt on top. Using a big dry brush and some white paint, I'm going to go pretty heavy on this all the way around, including the front edges. I also have these clear plastic snowflakes that I'm going to hot glue to the top of the box, and I'm also going to do a couple of small ones on the sides just to give it a little bit more of a snowy look. I have to say that out of all three of my projects today, I think this one is my favorite. It turned out super cute. I hope you enjoyed my three projects today. If you did, I'd love for you to stick around a while. Hit that subscribe button. Those two black arrows will show you exactly where to click. Thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate your support. See you in the next one.